Greetings, I'm Mike Pachelli, coming to you from my studio in Nashville, Tennessee. And for this lesson, I'm going to be talking about Miles Davis chords. First, let's get in tune. This is my high E. I'm in concert pitch. Give it to you again. Last time I did a lesson with this guitar, I got a lot of questions on, hey Mike, what is that? What kind of Strat? It's actually handmade, one of a kind by John Buscarino. Check out his work at buscarino.com if you like. And it's been my main guitar for over 20 years. I've probably done the most touring with this and all through Europe. So it's a Buscarino, one of a kind, kind of somewhere between a Stratocaster and actually a Mustang on the body. But I love that guitar. Okay. Miles Davis was such an innovator, and he's had so many great guitar players that have gone on to do many other things. And in the mid-60s, when he was working with Herbie Hancock, I think because of Hancock's influence and his ability to interject fourths, perfect fourths in his chords, it really helped Miles Davis go another way. And Miles has expanded on that later on in his career, and he pretty much showed most of his guitar players a kind of fourths way of thinking. And I'll get to that in a minute, but first, let me just talk about perfect fourths. If you have a note, if you have an A, a perfect fourth above it is a D. Right, so that's on the fourth string and the third string, 7th frets. Those are perfect fourths, right? So if I add one more on top of that D, I'd have to put a G on top. Now I have a chord of perfect fourths. Hear that? All right. Very kind of hip sounding chord just unto itself when you play it alone. Now what's great about perfect fourths is you can consider that so many different chords. You could think of that as an E chord. It could be an A chord. And it moves around in various ways. Like if I was considering the top note G as the lead note, I could think of any scale or mode that I know in G and move it around to make a melody in fourths. So if my top melody was like something like, right, very common sounding melody. But if I use that in perfect fourths, I can go, right? Gives it a whole nother, ethereal sound. Make it an A chord. E. It works good in chromatic movements too, just. Now when you play perfect fourths on string 5, 4, and 3, it's even easier. You just bar right across. Like that. That would be perfect fourths. Barring the 7th fret on the 5th, 4th, and 3rd. I can move that around. Same thing. Any melody I can choose or just, play around. I like to do it in whole steps. Right? A whole step is like from D to E. Right? Move that fourths in whole steps. That cool? Here, a half step. Now, of course, if we played fourths on the 6th, 5th, and 4th string, same thing, just bar across. I could do the same thing, moving that around in whole steps. That's great. Woo. Now, when you combine the 6th, 5th, 4th string of fourths with the 5th, 4th, 3rd string of fourths, and perhaps the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string of fourths, you can move around and get really interesting sounds. Just I'll think maybe like A minor-ish with the A minor scale. So starting here where I began. Right, cool. And of course, if you put fourths on the third, second, and first string, it would look like this. Right? So I'm on the fret 7 of string 3 and fret 8 of string 2 and 1. So when you combine fourths of all the different string sets, you can really have some fun. Little flat 5 sound. I'm just letting my ear be the judge as I move that fourths shape around. Now, the Miles Davis kind of chords, scale, mode, fourth things that I want to talk about mostly is something I think he passed on to a lot of the guitar players, because you'll hear it in like Mike Stern's playing, and I've heard it in McLaughlin's playing. It's a phrase like this. Let's see. Let's go to if we're in E and we're thinking like E pentatonic, and I'm going to play the notes on the B string, so I'll have this fourth sound on the fourth, third, and second string. Okay, so the notes would be like. Right? So that's fret 17, 15, 12, 10, 8, 5, 3. I like to throw in 1. Okay, so now if I play that in perfect fourths, right? Okay, right? Got that? Now the Miles Davis thing, the little trick is, here's the first chord, right? I'm at, let's see, fret 16 of the fourth and third string, and 17 on the second string, right? Now that's my target fourths I'm going to. Before I play that chord, I'll play a bar of all three. And I'm just barring on fret 17 of the fourth, third, and second string first. See, like a position like that. And then I'll play the fourths. See that? Let me play that an octave lower. What would be? Sorry. Right, like barring. Got that? Now that's the move. So when you first play this, bar down, all in the same fret to the fourth sound, and move it through that pentatonic scale I showed you, you get a sound like this. Isn't that great? I love that. You can play it in various rhythms, like as a punchy line. So of course, if you wanted to play it on other strings, where you have the fourths like that, you have to raise these up. Right? So the basic idea is, again, look for the fourths, raise the bottom two strings up a half step, right? And then I'm thinking of that as like that G as my melody note. And I'll think of the E as my melody note. Think of the D as my melody note. C is my melody note. On the lower string, say if that D is my melody note. C, B. Isn't that great? And you don't have to be, stringently stay to the idea of bar and then fourths. I mean, you can go fourths to bar too if you want. And it doesn't necessarily have to be scalar either. You can jump around if you like maybe opens up a whole new world, doesn't it? I'd like to plug my pick. I'm using this V pick. I think it's really, really the best pick I've ever had. It's 4 millimeters, and you could find them on vpick.com if you want. Check it out. It's really improved my playing quite a bit. I don't use sometimes I use the tip, but for the most part, I use the rounded part. I put the tip up. The tip goes up, and then I play like that so I can get finger and thumb on every note. There you go. Hey, I'm Mike Pachelli, and if you'd like to drop me a line or a note, do so at mikepachelli.com. It's always cool to hear from you, and I'll answer every email. Please check out some of my other videos. There's some good ones on this site about playing legato and fluidity, and I'll see you at another lesson. Thanks for hanging out with me.